Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Deceptilab. It's your boy Freeze coming at you this week with the weekly live stream. And today, of course, it is the last live stream before the endurance event. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about these endurance bots. Now, we already talked about them in pretty good detail last week. The biggest thing is we want to look at a couple of the minor changes that came out throughout the week, talk about that, and then if anybody has any more questions, make sure that you put those into the chat. I know it was still a lot of questions after I talked about them last week, and seems like it's gonna be a pretty good bot, man. I'm going for them. I just got my assignment today, for the endurance event. So looking pretty good. Um, they did make some changes to the G1. We'll talk about that a little bit. And the stream before an endurance event is usually pretty chill. And so for me, I'm always looking at strategies. I'm going to take a look at some of the bots that I might level. And I was actually having a good conversation with a couple of my fellow playtesters earlier in the day about just different bots that are worth just leveling, just even if it's just for the sake of having fun. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I'll show you the bots that I'm targeting this week, and I want to take a little bit of a look at what I learned. Um, in the Horde, we've been practicing Unicron League pretty much all week. So I want to take a look at some of the things that I learned over the course of the week in regards to that, and how I feel like that will translate into wars going forward in the future. So overall, pretty fun stream. And before we talk about any of that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the newsletter. All right, so this week's event is called Clash of Titans. It's week 4, obviously, of the saga. Or week 8 of the overall saga. And yeah, big prizes on the line here. Uh, for those going for the 5-star, your alliance had to get 3.5 mil. Or if you're going for the 4-star, the alliance had to get 1.5 mil. 100 tiers, and here's the price charts they got there. Looking pretty good. I tell you what, man, I always like looking forward to the end when I start to get all that total spark and total shard. Get those at the end. I had so many. I actually just went through my total spark the other day. Get I was trying to get myself set up for the level up some combat bots, and I just going through that. I was just opening everything. I was trying to put a couple more levels on my combiners, so um, definitely comes in handy. I had about 161 of those saved up, so I went through those. So I need to replenish, and I knew they were going to be in this event, so I'll start replenishing those again. So good event overall. Typical battle zones. And of course, we get Beachcomber and Deluge as the endurance bots. And it looks like I hadn't actually picked with this yet since they changed it. I got some updates this morning on the G1 cores. Apparently, they made them actually turn. I want to say they made them turn gold. So we'll take a look and see if that's the case. And they also talked about some of the changes they made to the G1. So the G1 core is going to have a permanent reflection, and the percentage is going to vary depending on which one you get. So um, yeah, so for the G metal, you're looking at 30%. The G1's now going to give a 20% ability boost. So we'll take a look at that and see how that looks. That's huge. That's gonna easily make it one of the better G1 cores in the game. I feel like you guys that talk to me regularly, especially a lot of guys that talk to me online in Discord. No, I'm not a huge G1 core fan overall, and I've been standing on that, man. Because even when Waza and Tex and I and Grind Time had made a series of videos on Waza's channel. One of the topics I brought up was that G1 cores weren't that good. So this one's actually going to be pretty legit. I would totally use this. Um, and they just adding in for the ability 11. The taunt wasn't working. Obviously, if you want to have a lot of reflection and you got a bot that's got, up to 70k health, you definitely want it to have some reflection. So I'll be taking my first look at that today on this stream. And yeah, and it does say here that he turns golden. And I said I was watching Sunstreak Awaza. I couldn't catch him live last week, but I know that was one of his biggest talking points. It's like, look, man, this is a bot that's iconic in the lore. You gotta make him look how you gotta make it look how it's gonna look in the lore, man. And to his point, I do agree with that. Um, I do have my concerns about if people get confused about when you're using the actual Golden Lagoon versus this Golden Lagoon effect that Beachcomber and Deluge are gonna have. But um, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes once we get our hands on that bot. We got a pictures of some of the stats. They did a real good job of changing that artwork for the ability. So yeah, looking forward to talking about it a little bit today. I'm not going to take a whole hour like I did last week, but I am going to talk about some of the changes and stuff like that. Of course, you always got the Cyber Pass in the newsletter, as well as all of your content creators, so your official ones, Engineer Hoist, myself, Soldier, who I saw in the chat earlier. Thanks for joining, Soul, and of course, Sunstreaker Waza. Like I said, into the soccer schedule, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up next soccer, because Space Ape did say that they are going to start doing votes for the next legacy batch after the endurance event. So let me know in the chat. Um, Speaking of that, who do you really want to see in the next legacy batch? So they're saying it's going to be two bots. They say we're going to get the vote for two bots. And I hadn't planned on talking about that today, but um, I'll look at that today myself, see who I would actually want to see in the legacy batch, who really needs a buff. All right, community corner got some cool artwork there. Looks like they got a sketch of Prowl, so pretty cool. Bug fixes and improvements. So tomorrow, actually, I think they got the date wrong on there. Yeah, it says the 22nd. It should be the 29th. But Star Saber and Deathsaurus. So apparently they were freezing combiners. Uh, they had a bug for that. Anybody that was using that, you expect to lose that tomorrow. But yeah, yeah. So that's the one bug fix that they got this week. And then Space Ape is going to be streaming tomorrow, and so it's going to be a fun day tomorrow. I'm still off of work for another couple of days, so I will be checking out their stream. And then it's always, I like when Space Ape has their stream and then Waza streams after it, because he's always got some pretty good takes on uh, whatever they talk about during the stream. I said that's the one drawback for me being on Wednesday. I don't get to cover the stuff to the following week, so be sure to check him out as well. But it looks like that's all we got for the news this week. So let's go over and see what we got going on in the chat. And it looks like I need to hold on. I need to actually pull up my chat. Like I can see it on there. Okay, so it looks like Big Blade 297 was first. Thanks for joining, Big Blade. And he just I messaged him after he got on the stream first, because it's like he's always active in the stream. So he's gonna be one of our new moderators. So everybody congratulate Big Blade. And I said I know he's gonna do a great job. I started thinking about it. I said Chris is out today. He's out with his daughter at a sporting event. So, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna make the stream. I'm going to this thing." I said, "Hey, man, cool." But I say, "Yeah, you know what? I'll add another moderator just in case." But shout out to the entire moderator team. They always do a great job, and I know Big Blade do a great job as well. And he's also one of uh one of the content creators. So make sure you check out his channel as well. All right, so after Big Blade, we had Kristen Jones with us again. Thank you for joining, Kristen. Our other moderator and content creator friend, Mercenary Terror, is in there, and he says he wants to make sure that you guys know to like and subscribe. And he always used my whole government name. He said Freezy is Maximus. But yeah, man, definitely do that. Especially if you like my content, man. It helps with the algorithm and stuff like that. My good friend and teammate, Motivator's in there. Thanks for joining, Moto. Um, yeah, he says he's always listening to us on the way home from work. You got a nice little commute, so thanks for joining again. My good friend, playtester buddy, Educator's in there. Thanks for joining. Lou Mega is in there with us again. Thanks for joining, Lou, as well as my Alliance family mate and good friend, Gamer Knight. He says hello and die auto bums. I told him in the chat, I said, yeah, man, you really know how to make an entrance. Like I mentioned, soldiers in the chat, thanks for joining, Soul. Michael Cooper's with us again, as well as Big Joe. Thanks for joining, fellas. Another another Horde family good friend, Candyman's with us, and one of my members. Thanks for joining, Candyman. And let's see who else we got. Astrolon07 is with us again, as well as E-Rods. Thanks for joining. And E-Rods is like, sorry for being late. You didn't miss anything, man. You know that first couple minutes is like newsletter stuff like that. So, all right. And I actually start to see. I'm gonna come back to that because I see a lot of you commenting who you want to see go into the legacy batch. I like that. I want to talk about that. So, let me get finish with the shout outs first. I see Daniel Evans is with us again. Thanks for joining, Daniel, as well as Tony B. We got one of my members, Esclohasi, is in here. Thanks for joining. And say he couldn't stay for the whole stream, but he'll be back later. I appreciate that. Matt Polly is with us again. Thanks for joining, Matt. And if I miss anybody, just give me a shout. Put a tag up there. I think I got everybody that's in there so far. And so Big Joe just made a comment, and I'm gonna address that off rip because immediately the in play test earlier this week, the ape said, "Hey," somebody asked the question. They said, "Hey, when are you going to do anything with the next legacy batch and let us vote?" And instantly they was like, instantly they said, "Well, it's not gonna be Cup and Dead End," because somebody did ask that. They said, "Yeah, we need to." They they not doing it, man. So I'm sorry. Um, that's not going to be. I mean, it's already a really good bot. So I think they're focusing more on bots that just they're not very good or you know that need the attention. When I look at Legacy Batch, and I've been saying this for a while, and I re-emphasize this a lot in playtesting, right? That this is to close up some of the gaps that you have with power creep. And what I mean by that, for those who aren't familiar with the term, so when you have power creep, it's like, hey, say you got this bot and he was really amazing, and you used him the entire time you were HQ 14. Obviously, we've got four more, HQ levels since then. So he's gonna be good for a while, but eventually the game where it gets just where they're just too strong. The defensive side gets too strong for you to continue using that bot. It's a normal thing in gaming, but you know, you don't want bots that you really, really love to just kind of just completely die and go to the wayside. So that's what we're doing Legacy Batch for. Now I know a lot of guys in playtest the conversation is like, oh man, nobody's gonna use this guy. This one's not a war bot, and I understand where they're coming from. When you go and you make one of those bots, the ones that aren't 5 stars, and you go put them in a 70K event, then it's like, man, I got to go for this bot, and he's not even going to be a war bot. Now, a lot of people are expecting that, and that's just not going to be the case in most conventional cases. So keep that in mind. All right, so I want to go look through that list of just some of the names that came up when they were talking about uh, just the different bots that people want to see. Oops, I got bludgeon on the brain, man. I said I always, that's one of my favorites. I'm not trying to click on him for once. Um, so for the legacy batch, so Motivator says he wants to see C Clamp, and C Clamp would actually be a really, really dope one, man. Not gonna lie. Yeah, C Clamp is that'd be tough, and and that's one of those ones that you could kind of make into a 5 star. This is one of my favorite 4 star bots, man. I wouldn't mind seeing them go into the legacy bats just for the sole purpose of seeing them eventually become 5 star. But yeah, with the max health boost and the damage absorption and everything, wall damage, acid splash, or not acid, but yeah, that little splash that he does, that would be dope. And My question would be, how would they actually go and improve them? So that would be a tough one, just from the standpoint of having to improve them. But I definitely would like to see him go in just for the sake of becoming a 5 star. Um, Big Blade, and it's funny because I actually made a video about this at one point, but this is way back. This is probably well over a year ago. But Cyclonus could get some love. Um, who's the Autobot version of C Clamp? I said I forgot. Was it Beast War Prowl? I can't remember the Autobot version. But yeah, when you look at a bot like Cyclonus, then that would he's always needed the attention. Honestly, because he's just not that good. So that would be a good one. Yeah, Gamma kind of agrees with him, says that he's next to useless. Another one, Kristen had a good one. Said Iron Bison could use a rework, and I was actually talking about Iron Bison. It's been a while now. It's been a few months ago. But who's the Autobot one? I think that's Lightspeed. Is it light? No, that's not Lightspeed, is it? But yeah, Iron Bison would be a good one. And thing is, Iron Bison is actually to me just criminally underrated. And I think the biggest thing for Iron Bison would be that you need to give him like actual warrior health. I think if you get him a nice good health increase, I like speed reduction abilities a lot. Everybody doesn't. Um, but it would be something nice to have, especially as I predicted front loaded bases to start making a comeback, especially for Unicron. But I think that if they take some of those effects and put them into the regular game, then this is going to be one of those bots that would be really cool. I tell you who I'd like to see. Let me go to my gunners. I like to see this dude. I like to see this dude. I like to see Swindle and Sunstreaker get some attention because they got the potential to be really good. Now, if there was a bot that I think you could probably put in Legacy and then potentially turn into a war bot, I think he has some of that ability. Um, but I also think that they might be scared to make him. I think they might be scared to make him too close to this dude, Trigger Happy and Six Gun. So I think they have to be careful. They might have to give him a large rework. So let's see. Yeah, it was Beast War. Beast War Ironhide was the C clamp equivalent. I had it wrong, so thanks for correcting me on that. And I was right about Lightspeed. Yeah, man. See, that's why I keep all you guys around. Mercenary Terror wants to remind everyone that it's Kill Bison in the lore. I usually catch that. I'd be like Iron Bison, Kill Bison because Merc Terror is watching. But cool, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope the vote comes out like soon, like beginning of next week or something like that. Because dude, it's fun. This legacy testing legacy batch is by far one of the most fun things that we do in testing, man. And even though um, there's gonna be some debates about how we should proceed because everybody wants to push them to be warbots. I mean, I think if you close that power, um, if you close that gap that you have from power creep, I think you're good. And I see my boy Soul just got his membership. So thanks for doing that. I think he had one time before. I don't know. I know one time I had dropped a lot of people by accident off a membership. So let's see. Yo, J Funk joined the chat. One of my teammates in Horde and good friends, and uh, he said, "Can we rework Warpath?" He's thinking rework Warpath just to upset Tex. No, I don't think we want to do that. Warpath and Skull Smasher, uh, Skull Cruncher because Terror's watching. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did. You did talk about that soldier, how you get the new account. So yeah, because you're gonna have different accounts with different stuff. Cool, man. Rotinator says, "Well, so where are the Titans? Surely they ain't talking about Beachcomber." Yeah, I've been saying for a while now, man. Like some of these titles for the events been getting kind of wild, man. They had a couple. They had a couple that were related to Titans, but then the Titan had just come out in December. I was like, why didn't you use one of those titles when you were actually talking about the Titan? But yeah, nah, it's just then regular old endurance event. Big Joe made a good point. He said, if I want to rework a Swindle, vote for Long Haul. They had the exact same attack. Big Blade says Long Haul would need acid or freeze rockets, something to separate them from Prowl. Nah, I can see that. Give Long Haul water missiles. So while we sitting up here talking about that, that's one of the things that I wanted to give an update on regarding Deluge and Beachcomber, just because. So we got in there, and I actually got to go to his bio for a second because in his bio, it was talking about that sometimes he's going to use that shoot off a water bullet. And so we got into this whole conversation about, well, what does water do? Now, I've been pressing on this issue a lot because what I don't want to happen is I don't want us to have inconsistent attacks for different characters. So, a lot of people were saying in test, they was like, yeah, it's a slowdown. And I was like, well, no, and we had this whole back and forth. And somebody pulled up an old message this I think it was with Vivek had in our playtest chat. And let me go and actually pull it up on Discord real quick so that I can look at it. But yeah, long story short, it's never been a slowdown, and so the apes were actually looking for a slowdown to see if it was doing it. And they was like, yeah, it's a slowdown, just like Ruination and God Neptune do. And they say, well, no, it's not that. And I understood what we were saying. What we were saying is that it's actually more like a debuff, and so in theory, it kind of does the same thing. But they actually cleared that up, and so they said. There's a couple of things they said in here, so I gotta actually scroll a little bit. Yeah, so Jesse got in there and says slowdown has never been a thing for this bot. So they asked what water does. And the key thing here is the water only works on one target, and I actually can run an attack, so you can actually kind of focus on that for a second. Let's see, I gotta throw Deluge in there. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, and I agree with you, Big Blade. You know, everybody accused me of saying, "Hey, you playing too much Pokemon Freeze," but nah, I said I honestly wanted to see him be able to. I wanted to see all the elements counteract each other. So here it's supposed to be like a damage reduction type thing. that it's doing. But the thing that sucks is he only uses that water. He already doesn't use it very often, but he only uses it on one. He only uses it on one target. So then the question became, all right, well if he's not using it on multiple targets, and sometimes the targets get hacked, then what point does it have? And I know Big Blade and I have been having a conversation about the hack and just like different elements of the hack. So we'll actually go back and look at his ability a little bit again. But one of the biggest points of controversy and testing was the fact that when you go do this ability and you have this hack, you are also going to have invisibility. You're also going to have reflection. They's like, well, if you're invisible, you're not going to be reflecting anything. So then it was like, if you're hacking stuff, why do you need to be invisible? And so I'm going to actually look at exactly what Space Ape said about it because Jesse was talking about it earlier. And what he said was this. He says, reflect acts as insurance on the chosen ally if they get hit by a stray area of effect or if they hit a flare mine. And this is what Big Blade and I've been saying for pretty much consistently for a week and a half. That is like when you go do if because when you're invisible, you still can be hit. So and typically that's something that's going to happen when your team has good pathing. So that came straight from Space Ape. Um, and they also said, oh, and the other part we already talked about. They were talking about is it going to? Uh, they talked a lot about the water aspect of it this week as well. So looking pretty good. Bots good to go. We'll take a look at that new G1. All right, so increased health. Um, you're gonna buff the special ability. I think they still need to update this tooltip because it's gonna be 20% instead of 10. I think at 20%, that's actually gonna help quite a bit. And I'll actually run some tests of that here in a little bit too. I see Ninja Squirrel 30, joined the chat. Thanks for joining. It says any tips on using blur and wars. So you're saying you're in platinum. So the biggest thing when you're using a bot like blur, what I use him for, um, which for me that was conversion is runabout. I use them a lot for sack. As long as there aren't any flare mines around, you can kind of rush them ahead, use them to pop some of the outposts without taking any damage, and without your team taking damage. That's the important part. Um, Another thing that came up, and I said I probably shouldn't be so nonchalant about it. So this reflection, I'm being told is going to be affected by FFD. I didn't have the answer for that last week. They actually just said something about it today. So you still are going to have to get rid of FFD in order. So force field disruptor build by cores. You're going to have to get rid of those in order to get the effect of the reflection. And I can't say that I disagree with that. I mean, the stuff's got to have counters and stuff, so not overly concerned about that. But overall, man, it's a pretty good bot. I know there's been some criticism that the bot doesn't really do too much, very well. I think he I think he is good for a support role. I like my support bots, and I'm going for them. And at a minimum, I'm gonna put them on defense. So, see, I know everybody's in there talking about, everybody's in the chat talking about water. King Grimlock, another one of my good friends from Playtest, joined. Thanks for joining, King Grimlock. And then Ninja Squirrel was asking about Blur, about combat parents. I've seen a lot of. Mm, See, I actually don't use them that much. I know how to use them, but that's one of the ones that I didn't actually pull from that batch. I like using. To be honest with you, let me go through my combats real quick. I think I still got them in here. Oh, I actually don't have that 5-star leveled up. So out of who we can equip, when I was running them, I was actually using bots like I was using stuff like blowpipe. I know a lot of people like to use the Megatronus power core on him as well. So anything that gets anywhere near him, he just while he's um while he's not getting hit, you can kind of benefit just anything that's going to add more damage to him. But I've seen it go a lot of different ways. I've actually seen people use Fracas on him, which I personally don't like on a sack bot. But I think you're just trying to go for just really really quick damage. I've seen some people have some success here too with with heartburn. But some of you guys let them know in the chat what are some of your combos you use because I said I haven't actually used them that much. I don't not since like playtesting. Yeah, and say Skinny is agreeing with me saying about the Megatron is cool. Big Joe said he got Megatronus and Groundhog on his. See, I see a lot of Megatrons. I do know that. I see that a lot in the higher levels. Yeah, and then King Grimlock kind of agreed with what I said. He used Tricera shot. Big Blade wants to remind people that if you need help on Octone, he's the dude. But yeah, man. So yeah, definitely looking forward to Deluge and Beachcomber. Uh, I didn't see where they did change them golden yet, at least not on. Let me see something. Because I know sometimes when they're doing testing, um, they'll change stuff on one version of the bot. Let me see if that's the case. 'Cause I didn't see them change anything golden. Like I saw the same, I can see the same effect that I had last week. I need the G1. Um, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna find this core in the middle of all this mess. But yeah, I think it'll be right by the time we get to when we go to the actual live server. All right, so let's see. So let me go back through my notes. I said, so I want to talk a little bit because I had a lot of questions after I got off stream last week about how do I get through the event so fast. So the first thing is, dude, honestly, I just don't like doing events. They like it's just like we've been doing. I've been doing events every weekend for like what is this, probably about 6 years now, something like that. Because I started playing about 2 years after the game was already going. But one thing I have started doing, and a lot of people are starting to do this, everything goes through God Neptune. and Ruination. And so what I do, I just go into zone 15, and I gotta look at whatever bots I'm leveling for the day. And so lately, I think I just got all my war bots up to 70, so now I'm working on some pieces that I might rotate in. And some bots that I like just because they're fun. I'm gonna be rotating some of those in to get them to level 70. And I have two G Metal XP cores I think that I got available for the weekend. I'm probably only gonna use one because I'm probably gonna complete most of the event on day one. But yeah, I mean it's really just simple. Like for me, like say if I was leveling Octo Punch, I just drop them in. Zone 15s. They're not overly difficult. But one of the things with God Neptune and Ruination is that range that they have on this God Sting ability here. This is very, very large. So you can just start taking them towards HQ, and then you can use that tidal wave to just kind of clear out just huge areas. I mean, I've even used it in zone 16 a couple of times. Then that next time I go take them directly to the HQ. Now right here I could just fast forward if I want to. A lot of times I'll let the tidal wave regenerate and I'll just continue to use that. But my biggest focus is in making sure that he's not taking a lot of damage. So I take out whatever is close to him to prevent him from taking a lot of unnecessary damage. And that's actually a good question for the chat. Who are you looking at leveling this weekend? I see a couple of people already talking about that in the chat. So let me know who you're looking at leveling this weekend. Yeah, and that's it. Soul's doing. Soul said he doing that strategy this weekend. I mean, it's fast, man. Like it works fast, and that's my biggest thing. Like a lot of people ask me why I go through the event so fast. I just want them to get them over with, man. Like Saturday, I want to chill. I don't I don't want to be bothered with the event, and fortunately on Friday I'm off this week, so I'll have time for it. Usually, if I'm working, I'll throw in a couple of levels. People will ask me about which bundles I use. So my bundle choice depends on how long I plan on sitting there and gaming uninterrupted. So where there've been times where, hey, I'm at work. I'm gonna do a couple of levels because I wake up really early. I'm usually up at like 4 or 5 in the morning every morning, regardless of anything that happens. You know, um, So sometimes I might say, "Hey, I'm gonna hit this game for like 2 hours before work." And so if I'm gonna do that, I might hit like a $20 bundle. If I'm gonna just sit there and just play it all day, I'll go do like the $100 attack bundle. But usually I don't do that. Like I used to do that before I started doing this whole God Neptune thing. So now I just go in there and get like a $40 bundle or something like that. It really depends on how long I'm gonna play because what I want to do is plan around my breaks. So if I'm taking a break, then I want to let some of my fuel cells regenerate. And so that's my whole purpose there is to say, hey, I'm gonna take a break. I might take like a 2 or 3 hour break. Like last time for that 70K, I took like a 3 hour break, took a nap, did all kinds of stuff. And when I came back I had 75 fuel cells ready to go, and that helps me reduce my spending. See, now in this case I had that shield, so in zone 16, so I couldn't quite do that in zone 16. But if I have a bot that I can send directly to HQ, or even like a bot like I say, like a Thundercracker or a Silverbolt or something like that, where I can just hit, then at that point I can hit the air show strategy and stuff like that. So it works. It said Ninja Squirrel says TFEW had you on 4 weekends with double triple overtime. We need a union. Yeah, man, that's true. And the thing is, it's like, and I've been having a conversation about endurance events a lot lately. And the thing for me is that endurance events, you only got one every 8 weeks. Now, the problem for me is when they started adding the legacy batch, 5 star, and then, but I'm glad they added that as an individual event. And the reason why I'm glad for that is that you can just decide not to do that event at all, and it'll be okay because it's not like you're getting a war bot. But if you're a collector and you want to go for every bot, like this time I went for the endurance. I'm going for the endurance bot, and I went for the um the legacy batch bot because I really like you know um Huffer and Lockdown. What they did with it, and I like I like the legacy batch as a whole. But worst case, if you only had the 4 star version, and you just wind up having a better version in the 4 star than you had, and you don't have to pay anything for that. All right, let's see. Moto wants to get a couple levels in on Deluge over the weekend, so yeah, that'll be nice if we get him in enough time. Because I said we'll be working on that goal together. Candyman wants to continue working on Sea Phantom, so that'll be cool. Let's see. Big Blade tell I'm gonna try that after the stream. So he says use lockdowns, heal lasers before deploying. Got Neptune. Yeah, I can see that. Tony B's working on his defense. Optimal Optimus and Red Alert. So for us on the con side, he's talking about T2 and Run Amok. So I'm probably gonna work on, and I need to actually switch over. Let me go back to the lab real quick. I want to pull up my live account so I can see what I'm working with because I do know, and it was a fun conversation I was having with some of my playtest buddies earlier. But it was just like, hey man, like you know, we're a lot of us top players. We're kind of in the same scenario. Whereas like, look, your war team's maxed. What do you do now? And so now I'm starting to work on little side projects. So actually, all right. So I gotta go mirror my live account. So give me a second to get that switched over. All right, it looks like I got it this time. And while I'm waiting on that, me take a look in the chat and see what everybody is talking about for their bots they're leveling this weekend. And I'll share mines as well. All right, this is my live account. And ooh, I got attacked. Nice. Let's see how that went. They probably is gonna take a bunch of resources. This is my base design. Yes, I'm lazy. I haven't done all of my walls yet. I'm working on it. I actually leveled a couple this week. I know Big Blade, my defense specialist up there, so uh, you can always let me know what you think about that. Man, it looks like they're really trying to tear up the back half of that base. So what I like to do is I like to get Scourge up there, swoop for you guys on the Autobot side, and I like to get him out there early. He's usually he has my Nexus core. I forgot to put it on that time, but that's the one thing about being a content creator too, man. Like somebody probably saw my stream, uh, knew that Scourge was gonna be there, and just completely dodged him. But yeah, man. So that's cool. Let's see. Yeah, Jacada made a point, said use God Split on MDS miniguns in your path and take them out, or on the shield generators on both. So the reason why I haven't been doing that, and that definitely works in Prime League, it does not work when I get the Unicron League. So that's just a subconscious habit I have of not doing that. But like, yeah, like definitely for everyone else, because we've been practicing the Unicron League, and I actually got one strategy that I want to share with you guys that I've been using too. So there's a second reason why I haven't been doing that. Um, More so just based off a habit, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see. Big Joe says he's going to be working on Scrap Norm, Motor Master, Full Tilt, Flatline, and Junk Heap. He just took half shell to 65. Nice, nice. Yeah, I just maxed out. Last bot I maxed out was Junk Heap. Um, I like him. I actually like him a lot. I liked him a lot when he first came out. So now he's on my war team. You can actually see my war team up here. Oh, the war. I hadn't logged in since the war ended. So we can take a look at that too. So yeah, that's currently what I'm using in wars. And you guys probably seen a lot of it up there. I say the most recent changes I made is that I got Octo Punch and Junk Heat added to the team. So, but almost my entire team, almost all of them are basically filling some kind of support role. Like I don't use Knockout and Acid Storm for the anti-heal or anything like that. We talk about that a lot in in on my Discord server. But everybody's just kind of in some way just kind of chipping in a little tiny bit to win the battles and stuff like that. Let's see. Big Blade asked, since we were just looking at my defense, um, I said I got a congratulations for winning. Who do I have currently in the outpost? So I got Quella Guns. That's Twin Twist for you guys on the Autobot side. I got Run Amok in here. And I got Nemesis Prime. And so what I use Nemesis Prime for is to try to get it one of his shields. His shields will always go to that Megatronus on the MDS. So when he's popped, unless somebody does something like go use like a Roadbuster or Half Shell, that's always going to that 16 seconds that Megatronus and that MDS is going to be combining with each other. In addition to the fact that when you scroll back, I've got that Prime core there as well. So I still need to max that out. Those things take forever, man. And I'm glad to see that you agree with me that, that skids shouldn't be used just for anti-heal, skids and knockout. Daniel Evans asking, I view the commander's base and battle it. Um, yeah, I can in a little bit. Just give me a few. And that's a good strategy too. That's one of the first strategies I thought about when Junk Heap winning the pairing, Junk Heap and Retgar. Um, and I'm talking to reading the comment that Big Joe had, but it says pairing Junk Heap with Lug Nut and Nemesis. Sweet 3 bot set. But yeah, you can fly Lug Nut off. Use Nemesis to make them invulnerable, and then on top of that, you get that if you get that mace, if you get Lug Nut's mace, then you can have some invulnerability for that, and then you can use Junk Heap for revival. That's actually one of the first strategies that I tried when I got them in playtest. So shout out to Big Joe for that. So we were talking about bots that I'm going to possibly level, and so I got a lot of maxed out. My war team's maxed, impactors maxed. At some point, I need to go back in here, and so he's almost at 70. I'm going to max out block at some point. I probably need to do it early so I can get it done. I still need to max out Quellagon So those two, because they're so close to 70, I'll probably do early on day one. Let's see. Brawl I can wait on. Hooks maxed out. I want to go and level drag strip, and this is one of the ones in the conversation that I was having with some of my friends earlier when we were talking about who do I want to who who do I feel like is just fun to play with. I really like using drag strip and hound, man, and it's just because it's so unconventional. I mean, it's an old strategy that people used to use years ago to just combo with air raid and slipstream, and but then everybody moved a lot of bases started moving their resources to the front, and now when people stop doing that as much, they're still doing it but they're not doing it as much. Then we went to Unicron League, and I said, man, he might not be strong enough for that. So but I'll probably put some levels on them. I wouldn't mind putting some on Terramander, but I don't think I'll get to it this weekend. But I would definitely want to put some levels on Crankcase. Now I probably won't max him out. I'll probably take him to about 65. Uh, I'm just getting him out of the cooker. 461. I intentionally put him in there last weekend so that I could work on him during endurance. So looking forward to that. I'm gonna put some levels on T2. And I've been slacking on T2, man, but what I want to do is I want to start having a rotation, because like kind of like I saw on the video that you guys were just talking about. That was actually a really good time to talk about that, because one of the things that I've been noticing, especially as I YouTube and stuff, is I'll have people attack me, and even if they don't win, what they're starting to do is they say, "Oh, we know what's going to be here," and because you've seen my videos and stuff like that. So I actually want to get a rotation of really good outpost bots, and T2 is definitely popular in the higher leagues as an outpost bot. So I'm going to use that. I actually put all 18 of those levels that you see on the golden disc. I actually put on there this week. So he's got to get some love. I'll probably just take him to I'll probably just take him to level 61. I'm not in a rush, and I do like T2 a lot. I'll probably take him to 61, just let him cook naturally, and maybe when either the 50K or the Legacy Batch event comes, then finish him. I'll probably finish him and max him out. So I think that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend. All right, so I told. Oh, and I said I didn't uh, give Andrew Stevenson a shout out, but thanks for joining, Andrew. Yeah, and have fun in Scorch for this weekend. All right, so right now we got Dre in the outpost. I mean, in the commander spot. Yeah, we've been swapping people around, as you can kind of see. We've been swapping people around for the event. All right, so I'm looking at this particular base, and dude, he's actually got a really good one. And it actually gives me a chance to, and I'm actually gonna run my combiner, because I'll probably do some elimination mode after this. But one thing that I've been looking at in terms of strategies for Unicron League is a lot of us are already using Ruination and God Neptune, and so what I've been doing is I've been trying to come up the right hand side to try to get some of the AoE damage from tidal wave ability onto the Titan. So I want to see how that works out for me. So far, it's I've been winning the Titan battle since I started doing that about 85% of the time. So I was supposed to fight him, huh? So I'm gonna jump out of the camera real quick. Oh man, they took us out of Unicron League too. So all right, because we ended the war. So I probably should have did this earlier while we were still in Unicron. But I've been seeing some really nice strategies. Like I've been seeing strategies um, like we were playing against Scorched Earth yesterday. I think it was. I think that was the war that just ended. And like I started seeing dudes putting build bots next to the shield generator. So what that does is if you put the build bot there while using the Unicron effects, the build bots are shielding for 20%. So they'll be giving that shielding to the shield generator itself. But then the shield generator is shielding the build bot, so that if people are trying to just take out the build bots, it becomes that much more difficult. So that I actually want to try, and it's crazy because I do have one base design that's set up that way, and I want to do some testing on it. But I gotta actually have because Dale has to manually put us into the he has to manually put us into the Unicron battles, and so that sucks. Candyman says, "Who else maxed out their Titan this week, bro? I gotta actually do a better job of that. I've been extremely lazy with that, and I'm like super far behind, which is crazy because I was actually really excited about that when we started. Getting Grimlock tells me to rush to T2. Nah, I love T2. I I advocated for him hard, and that's why I'm just like, oh man, I told everybody how great this bot is, and I hadn't used him. Um, I'm gonna get to it. I just hadn't done it yet. I was working on bots that I was preparing on for other stuff, but I do have plans to work on T2. And y'all gotta excuse me because I do leave my icons on a lot while I'm playing. I get more than some people can't stand it. I get distracted more when I don't know if I've taken out all the key elements yet. And right now, I'm trying to use half shell to take all this stuff out. And he was affected by FFD. All right, so we got Sky Rain out there. So this is what I've been doing. I've been clearing the right hand side a lot, especially for Unicron. And a lot of people, because of FFD, don't want to rush up there to the top. I've been using it to take out FFD and get a little bit of area damage over to the Titan as well. So like in this case, like I'm actually going to use my Titan ability on the base, but you can see that just from the couple of attacks that I use of the tidal wave, um, you know, that I actually was able to take out the arc just by using the tidal wave attack. Somewhere in here I missed the FFD. Oh, that one never died. Well, that kind of sucks. Because I'm ready to use my abilities now. Alright. FFD is the force field disruptor. It's the power core that goes on the build bot. And this is why I use junk heap, right? Because it's gonna take me a while to get through this little section here. So I'm gonna use junk heap over there on my my rush tank there that I got with bludgeon. And he's gonna come back to life. And like I said, my approach to this game is very slow and methodical. So like I gotta be able to have anything that's going to help my survivability. I mean, and Dre's a really good player. One of my teammates, one of our officers over there in the Horde. But like, man, like, dude, it's taking me a long time. It never takes me this long to beat anybody's base. But that's on Prime League, so I mean, I imagine he probably would have got me on Unicron League. But that's how I use my war team. for those who are asking. I lost a bot. I don't like that. But let's see. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. I figured you knew what it was. That's why sometimes when I just go use the acronym, I was like, yeah, force field disruptor. But yeah. But all right, guys, it is dinner time for me, so I'm going to log off. But thank you all for joining for the live stream. Definitely a lot of good conversation going today. Make sure you catch me next week. I'll still be on Wednesday at 6. And good luck this week on the endurance event. As always, thanks for joining. I'll see you next week, and I will see you on the battlefield. Freezy is out.